I'm Sir Havoc and welcome to this Halloween special of the Art of series. This episode is all about crew skills. In this episode we will cover why they're important, how to train your crew, how to move them from one tank to another, and also skills and perks. Which ones are good, which ones are not. Well, they're all good to be honest. And which ones you might want for each tank. So in this episode we're not going to go into the specifics for what skills and perks you might want for like a medium tank or a light tank. We're going to cover the basics. I will go into that into later episodes, but for now it's just the basics, all about the crews and the skills and the perks. So please enjoy this guide, and if you don't know anything about WoT University, we're a clan looking to train new people and experienced people. If you want, you can come and join us for the fun. 80 members now, just about to start another clan because we're almost at maximum capacity, and it's all good. Enjoy. Hello guys, Sir Havoc here and welcome to this episode, which is an episode all about crew skills. So I've been speaking to some of my guys at WoT Uni and they've been having a bit of an issue with crew skills and not really know what the score is with them. And as it's so much of an important part of the game, I decided that I would do something so you guys can have a little look and know where you are with it. Now, crew skills are really important in my opinion. They're our only opportunity to customize our tanks in a smaller way. So I used to play EVE Online, and on EVE Online, you know, you can have a spaceship and you can fit it in multiple different ways, and you could come across a Sabre for example, and it can be a completely different ship depending on what modules are fitted. The similar is the same for World of Tanks, but only not as extreme. So obviously you have an option to fit different consumables and different modules, but the real difference you'll see is the difference what you can give to the different crews, and their abilities can change how the tank performs. But before we get into that, I wanted to take you through the process you'll have coming into the game when you get a new tank and you don't know quite where to go with it or what the skills is all about. So I know that when you start as a new player right now, I think this crews start off at 100%, so you get to choose a skill or a perk straight away, whereas when I started, you started with a 50% crew. So we'll get onto that in a minute. But before then, we'll talk as if you've got a new tank, because when you get a new tank, you get an option to skill up your crew, i.e. do you want the crew at 50% for no fee, 75% for 20,000 credits, or do you want to pay 200 gold for your crew to be at 100%? Now, this is your decision. Now, by all means, if you've got gold, you might want to go for that, or if you're desperate to get a crew trained, you might want to go for gold. But normally, those of you that are starting the game will go for either the 50 or the 75%. Okay, so when you've got a crew, the first thing to do is decide whether you're going to go for 100%, 50%, or 75%, and then go from there. Now, for those of you that don't know, how you develop a crew and its skill is by playing a game, and when you play a game you get credits, and those credits are taken off the amount that's needed for the crew member to go up by a percentile. So as you can see, we'll use this crew member here. He requires 1021 XP to go up to 88%. He's currently at 87. This crew member here is at 85%. He requires 865 XP to go up to the next level. The amount you get in a game is taken off of each of your crew members. It isn't split up, it's taken off as a whole, okay? And more gets taken off the lowest member if you have a accelerated crew training. Okay, so when you get a new tank, all of your crew will be on 50%. Okay, but the commander gives your crew a bonus of 10% of what his skill is. For example, my commander is at 50% on this TOG, but he is given a 5% bonus to all the other team members. So you can see they're all at 55. Their actual training level is 50%, the same as the commander, but he is given a 5% bonus, so they're all at 55. The aim of the game when you're training crews is to get them all at 100%. When you get them to 100%, you get the ability to pick a skill or a perk. Let me swap over to a tank where I can do that now. As you can see, when you get to 100%, the commander is at 100 and all the other crew members are at 110%. That's because the commander is giving 10% of the 100 extra skill bonus to them. Your tank will not perform at the rate that the description says unless your crew is at 100%. So when you look at a tank and it says that he fires 20 rounds per minute, he will not fire 20 rounds per minute until he's at 100%. Your aiming time will not be at 2.3 seconds until that gunner is at 100%. When the crew members go up, the further they go above that, they will perform better than what it says in the description. So if, for example, your tank has a reload time of 20 rounds a minute and you have a bonus from the commander and you have brothers in arms which gives extra crew skill, and then you have events which gives an extra crew skill, and then you have some chocolate which gives another 10% crew skill, then your team will perform better than what it says on the description. Their view range will be longer, the camouflage value will be better, the reload time will be better, the aiming time will be better. So if you can increase the crew skills above 100% as much as you can, that gives an overall performance bonus to your tank. Now as you can see, I have little X's here, and that means all my crew is at 100% and I'm now ready to pick a skill or a perk. So let's see what that's all about. Now this is my commander, and if I move along to this tab here, I can see the skills and the perks. The commander has the same 4 common skills that all the other crew members have. Now the key to using common skills is, if you're going to go for repairs, put repairs on every single one of your crew members if you can. The same with camouflage or firefighting. This will give the crew a massive boost in that area. If you separate that in between the crew members, the boost will be so little it won't be really worth having. Brothers in Arms is a perk that increases the overall skill of your crew, which only comes into effect if all members are at 100%. And that brings me on to the next subject, the difference between skills and perks. Skills increase the crew's ability from the moment you get it, and increases it as the percentage goes up. If you have the repair skill at 50%, you'll get a bonus. If you have the repair skill at 75%, you will get a bigger bonus, and 100% a bigger bonus. Then you have it with 2 crew members a bigger bonus, and 3 and 4 and so on. So these 3 common skills are actually skills. Brothers in Arms is a perk. As you scroll down, once you come away from the common skills, you'll see that each individual crew member has his own set of skills and perks he can choose from. Unlike the common skills, you can only have one of these per crew member. You cannot put recon on all the crews, or Sixth Sense, or mentor. The only ones you can distribute between the whole crew is these 4 common skills. With the commander, there's a range of different skills and perks that gives you extra abilities. So let's start from the top. The repair skills does exactly what it says on the tin. It makes your crew repair damaged modules faster. The camouflage reduces your vehicle's visibility. The firefighting enhances the firefighting abilities of your crew. It doesn't prevent fires from happening, but it makes them be put out faster. And Brothers in Arms improves the major qualifications and all skills for the entire crew. The same as having a chocolate bar, or the same as having vents. Now when you move on to the targeted skills and perks, they're specific to the crew member. So as you can see, the mentor provides an additional experience to all the crew members except the commander. What that means is, as you accrue XP, more XP gets distributed towards all your crew members except your commander. And what that does is it enables you to train crews faster. The recon skill comes into effect after the training starts. It increases the maximum view range of your commander. So if your commander can normally see, for example, 350 meters, when that's trained to its maximum effect, you might be able to see 370, and it just gives you that edge over your opponents. The Jack of all trades enables the commander to master every qualification and replace knocked out crew members. This means that if one of your driver dies or your gunner dies, your commander can go in its place, so you will not receive as much as a disability to that crew member being killed. Eagle Eye enables the commander to identify critically damaged modules on targeted vehicles within the view range. That enables you to see if they have damaged tracks, if they've been ammo racked, if their fuel tank's damaged, and that can determine whether you're going to go in. If you're on a one-on-one situation, or if you're heading off against an enemy tank and you can see that his load has been damaged, you know that you're going to get off twice as many shots against him as he's going to get off you easy. So that can determine whether you're going to go in. And that brings us to our first perk. All these so far have been skills. You can see that below the description. Skills comes into effect after the training starts. A perk comes into effect after it reaches 100%. So there's absolutely no point having a perk until you've got that skill to 100%. And what sometimes people do is they can pay gold to drop a skill. So you can choose a skill, for example camouflage, get the benefit of that climbing up to 100%, but once that reaches 100% you can pay gold to drop that and swap it out for a perk like Eagle Eye. But beware, that comes at a price, which I'll go into in a little while. For this moment I can tell you that I'm going to choose a perk for my first one. I always choose 6 cents for my commanders, and unlike some people that have lots of money, I don't like swapping out because it costs a lot of gold. So I just live with the fact that I haven't got a skill or a perk on the commander till he reaches 100%, and I'm happy with that. Okay, but now I've chosen that, if I want to drop that, it costs me money. So now that I've chosen that perk, no matter what percentage it's on, I can swap it out for a different one. For example, if I have that perk trained to 100%, but I want to change 6 cents to Brothers in Arms, I could change it for free, but Brothers in Arms would now go down to 80%. It wouldn't be at the 100% that 6 cents was. Now the difference between 80% and 100% is massive. There's as much difference between 80% and 100% as I think between 0 and 80. So that might not be a good thing to do. Now I might think, well, I could pay 20,000 credits and swap it over and it will be at 90%, but again the jump between 90 and 100 is massive, so we want to be careful there. What most people do is they swap it out for 100% and pay the gold. Now this can become costly over time, and I will try to show you ways that you can avoid this whilst swapping crews from tank to tank. But what I tend to do is, if I do have to swap them around, I'll wait, because Wargaming oftenly reduce this on special events to 100 gold, and you can change the skills and the perks on your crew members for half price. But for now, I'm happy with that. So let's just quickly go through the other skills and perks that the other crew members have. The gunner, like everyone else, has the common perks. Then he has designated target, which it lights up the enemy vehicles that have been spotted for another 2 seconds if they're spotted by you. This skill is absolutely, well, it's a perk. This perk is absolutely brilliant for scout tanks, and I use it on my scout tanks, and it gets me a lot more assisted damage. The armor improves the accuracy of a damaged gun. Deadeyeing, again, that's a skill. Deadeye is a perk. It increases the chance to cause damage to an enemy vehicle, modules and crew. Snapshot increases the accuracy during turret rotation. That's a very good one. That's the one I tend to go for if I'm not going to go for a common skill or perk. The driver, controlled impact, decreases ramming damage to your vehicle and increases ramming damage to an enemy vehicle. Very good for heavy tanks. Off-road driving reduces the ground resistance when driving on soft and moderately soft terrain. So that basically makes you faster over terrain and reduces the numerical equation that Wargaming put in to slow down tanks when you go through different terrain values on the maps. Smooth ride improves the accuracy when firing on the move. Preventative maintenance is a skill you would give to a tank that catches on fire a lot, and this is where skills can really come into handy. So if you have a tank that's known for being easy to set on fire, you would prioritize preventative maintenance, okay, because once that gets to 100%, it will reduce the amount of flyers you get. Clutch braking increases the track traverse speed, so you can turn a lot faster. Equally, if you have a tank that sets fire a lot, you might want to choose a firefighting ability and get that on all of your crew members, so if it does catch on fire, then fires are being put out much quicker. The radio has the common skills: situational awareness, which extends view range; call for vengeance, which enables the a radio operator who survived the destruction of his vehicle to report enemy positions for another 2 seconds; signal boosting extends the signal range of your tank; and relaying extends the signal range of allied communications within the vehicle's radio coverage, which means it kind of bounces the radio signals off of other tanks so they can have a longer signal range. I can tell you now that if I do not choose a common skill, I normally always go for situational awareness, because view range and camo value is a big thing in this game. Last but not least, the loader has all the same common skills, apart from you get intuition, which creates the chance that the loader will promptly switch between shell types, either while the gun is loaded or during the loading process. Basically what that means is, just say for example you come up an enemy tank, you need to change ammo very quick. If you have the intuition skill, it might happen instantly. So as you press from 1 to 2, rather than the reload cycle happening, it just instantly changes to that. Adrenaline rush accelerates the gun loading if the vehicle is less than 10%. So if you're in them situations where you've got less than 10% life, just say for example you've got normally 1400 hit points and you're now below 140, it will increase the rate at which the gun reloads by a large amount. Now safe stowage, which is by far what I believe to be the best perk for the loader, increases the ammo rack durability and shells do not come into contact with each other. So what that means is you have less chance to be ammo racked, and that is especially useful in tanks that are prone to being ammo racked. Now where a lot of people get confused is when you move crew from one vehicle to another, and this can be quite complicating, so it's important to know how it all works. I'll give you an example. Let me find a appropriate tank. Here we go. Okay. As you can see, I have an FCM50T, which is a premium tank. Now, in this I have my BDR crew, and how a premium tank works is you can put any crew from that race and that tank type in it without a penalty. So the FCM50T is a heavy tank and the BDR is a heavy tank, so I can train all my crews from French heavy tanks in my FCM50T without there being a reduction to the crew's skill amount. If I was to put that same crew in another French heavy tank, there would be a reduction in the skill amount because they're not trained for that specific tank. Now, before I go into the complications of moving crews from one tank to another, I'll tell you a fast way to swap your crew around. The first thing you can do, rather than manually sending them all to the garage, you can simply click that button there with the 3 heads on, okay, and send crew to barracks. Press that and they all go there. If they're in the barracks and you want them back again, you just press that little head, return crew to vehicle. I never noticed this for such a long time, and I was doing it one by one, send to barracks, one by one, send to barracks. Now, this is my BDR crew. So, if I want that crew to come back to this tank, I click that, click return, and they come in here. Now, if I want them to go back to the FCM 50T, I don't have to send them to the barracks, I can just switch them straight across. And there you go again. However, sometimes you might not want all the crew members from one tank. So if you click here, across, 1 second, I'll send these off. If you click on that, it tells you all the crew members it has available to use that tank. Okay? Right now I only have 1 French crew that are not in a tank. If I was to go to my bat chat and send them to barracks and then go to my FCM, I've now got a choice of 2 crew members, either my bat chat crew or my BDR crew, and the same for there. Now let's see what happens here. As you can see, I put my back chat crew in my FCM 50T, but they're no longer at 100%. That's because the back chat's a medium tank and the FCM 50T is a heavy tank. So I get a 25% penalty. Of course, the 10% bonus from the commander still applies, so the other guys are at 83%. The skills and the perks still work, but the crew members themselves are only performing at the percentile level that they show there. That's not ideal, but I can still use, if I choose, if I want to get double bonus on my backchat crew, to use them here. But although it's not ideal, I'll send them back to garage and pull back my BDR crew. It's really simple. Okay. Moving crews from one tank to another. Now this is really important. If you're a new player, if you look at the tech tree, when you choose your lines, it's really important to try to map out what high tier tanks you might want. You might decide to go up a line because there's a specific tier 8 tank you want, or a specific tier 9 or tier 10, or whatever tier. But here's something to bear in mind. When you're going up a line, there could be 2 or 3 tanks from that line you actually want to end up with and keep. For example, I've gone up the medium line here. Now when I got to the 1390, I wanted to keep that, but I wanted that crew to progress onto the back chat because I wanted a good crew in my back chat. Now I have to train a new crew in my 1390 because the original crew that ended up in my back chat went along this whole line. So by the time it got to my back chat, it already had a number of skills and perks. However, when you want to swap the crew from one tank to the next tank, you still have that same penalty as you get when you're moving the crew from, for example, the back chat to the FCM 50T. When you move the crew from the 12 ton to the 1375, they're not trained in the 1375, so they're not performing at 100%, although the crew skills and perks are still working. So what you are forced to do in that point is exactly the same as when you're dropping a skill or perk. You pay credits or gold for the percentage of the swap you want. Here's an example. As you can see, I have a Cromwell and I have a Comet. Now I particularly enjoyed the Cromwell. I've got my double mark of excellence on this tank, and I have well into my second skill and perk there at 89%. Now I didn't want to lose that crew from that Cromwell, so I decided when I got the Comet to start a new crew. I didn't believe I was going to keep the Comet, but I knew that I'm going to need another crew, because on this line here there's either the 7, I'm either going to want to keep the 9 or the 10, but I want to keep the Cromwell. So I need to start building another crew for this line, because there's more than one tank in this line I want to keep. However, if I wanted to swap the crew from my Cromwell to my Comet, this is how it would happen. I go to personal file, I go to training, and as you can see it's got Cromwell there. If I go down and click on Comet, I can retrain that if I want. However, if I do, I can do it for free and it will be on 80%. Because the Comet and the Cromwell are the same tank type, i.e. medium tanks, instead of it being 50 and 75, it is 80 and 90. However, if I want to go straight at 100%, again it's 200 gold. This amount changes if you change the tank type. For example, if I wanted to change my Cromwell crew to a TOG, you can see that the amount is different. It's no longer 80 and 90, it's 60 and 80. That won't take it off from my skills and perks, it takes it off my overall crew skill ability, which means I've got to grind that extra 20% again, which can take a lot more time, and that grinding could be going towards my skills and perks now. So you very much keep yourself in a mode where you want to be building the skills and perks rather than re-grinding that 20% every time you take the crew up a tank. However, I have a very crafty way of going around this, because if the skills and perks work regardless of the overall skill of a crew, then the only real problem you have when you move a crew up without using the gold is the fact that the crew themselves are not performing to their normal ability on the spec. And how you can get around that is with vents and brothers in arms. So how this works is like this. Just say I'm going to change my Cromwell crew, let's click on my Cromwell crew to a Comet. I can put that crew at 100% for 200 gold, or I can put them at 90% for 20,000 credits. I know that if I put the commander at 90%, my crew members get a 9% bonus, which straight away puts them up to 99%. If my crew then has events, it gives them another 5%. So in fact, what I have then is a scenario where my commander's now at 95%, but all my crew are at 104, 105%. That means by doing it this way, my skills and perks are still active, and my crew are pretty much all running at over 100%, and my commander at 95%. If you was really particular, what you could do is you could use the gold to convert your commander to 100%, and then just do 90% on the rest of your crew. That would then give all of your crew members 100% from the get-go without vents, because they're getting the 10% from the commander. That's the cheapest way to go about doing that. By all means, you can use the gold if you can, and to be honest, I only recently figured this out, and I've spent a lot of money changing crews, but you don't need to. You can simply do your commander or rely on the vent skill. If you have crews that have brothers in arms and vents, you could just use all of them at 90, because they both give you a 10% boost to all crew members. So straight away, if you have a full brothers in arms crew there and you have vents there, 90% gives you 100% across your whole crews. It is important to note that your skills and perks will not continue to go up until the actual crew member skill gets to 100 in their own entirety, because at that point, if you've got a vents or you've got brothers in arms, it is only showing 100% because of that vents and brothers in arms. That particular crew member still might only be, like you say, at 90%. That 10% still has to build up before your skills and perks start to go. So you will not have the benefit of them raising until you've done that. So if you're more worried about your skills and perks going up rather than your base crew level, then you can use the gold. Another really important thing to mention about building crews is premium tanks. Now, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but premium tanks are absolutely vital for training crews. So depending on what lines you'll go down can often depend on which premium tank you'll pick. I picked the FCM 50T for my first premium tank because somebody told me it was really brilliant and it would suit my playstyle, and they were right. The only difference is, when I started playing it, I wasn't prepared, I wasn't good enough to play at that tier, and I wasn't skillful enough to play that tank in that tier. So I played a number of games, I didn't get on well with it, and I didn't use it for a long time. And the other downside is I'm not actually grinding a French heavy line up until last week, so I chose a French heavy line to go up because I have that premium tank. It just makes sense. So you can see that the premium tank you pick is dependent upon what you want to grind. So I'll just pick this here, premium. As you can see, I have the Type 64, which is a light tank, and this is a fun tank for me. Now, I haven't got no other light Chinese lines I want to grind, so this is mainly just for fun because I like lights, but it's a credit grinder. And this leads us on to the next point about a premium tank. Premium tanks are cheaper to repair, and they have a multiplier to how many credits and experience you receive. I think that's at about 50%. So you earn 50%, I think, roughly more credits and XP than what you do with a normal tank. Plus it's cheaper to repair, so you make a lot more profits and XP. So as you can see here, I've got a T34 for grinding my American heavies. The LTP I got for free. The combat car I got for free. I'm not too sure if the T2 light I got for free, actually. I think I did. The TOG I got for free in a competition, and I got the Fury today because I think I'm going to be a fan of that movie, and I like the look of the tank. There you go. Looks pretty awesome. I'm going to be doing a review of that pretty soon. I have the FCM 50T because I'm a light medium player really, and I love the benefits that this can give. And obviously I have the E25 because I was drunk one night and I bought it. But I don't regret that a single bit. I love it. So my money makers, funnily enough, is the FCM 50T. I love playing in that tank. It suits my playstyle. I find the T34 quite tedious. I've got an old crew which had camo in it, so the crew's not particularly well suited to the tank. So no doubt I'm going to have to change that around soon, because I took some of these crew members from a light tank that I had. So I just find it very slow and cumbersome. It's a very good tank, has a very good gun, but the FCM has premium matchmaking, so a lot of premium tanks only see one tier above it. So normally a tier 8 will see up to a tier 10. A lot of premium tanks will only see one tier above. It's called preferential matchmaking. What this means is this FCM 50T can only see up to tier 9s. That's brilliant. The T34 can see up to tier 10, so you don't get that matchmaking. So there you go. So that's really important to bear in mind. So you can have a premium tank to grind your crews or to grind for XP and money. And that's why they're really important, and they're an important part of the game. So let's start with a quick recap over what we've learned so far. So I'll move over to the TOG, and you've got a 50% crew. The name of the game is to get that crew up as fast as you can. Now normally in a premium tank like the TOG you would have a crew from another British Heavy. As you can see, I don't have another British Heavy, so what I will more than likely do is get one and use that crew on the TOG. Okay, because if I train up this TOG crew, I'm then going to have to pay to convert it to the British Heavy, and that would just be boring. I may as well buy the Heavy and get the crew over in this TOG as quick as I can. Once you get this base skill to 100%, as you can see, I just got the Fury, kind of excited about that. Once you get the base crew to 100%, you can pick a skill or a perk. Okay, I can tell you that I'm not too sure which one I'm going to go yet. I'm probably going to go for Snapshot, or I'm going to whack Repairs down there because the medium tank. But I just want to check. I want to find out about, I want to play a few games and look at this track traverse. If I'm happy with the speed and maneuverability, I'm probably going to go for Repairs. But if I play 10 or 20 games and I find that in actual fact it's not as fast or maneuverable as I want, I might want to go for clutch braking or off-road driving. Okay. Similarly, if I get on there and I find that the gun isn't very accurate on the move, I might want to forego the repairs, have that as my second skill or perk, and get Snapshot on the gunner and change what I want on the others. So now you reach the point where, like in the Comet, you've unlocked the next tank. It's the Comet, it's time to swap them over. You need to decide whether you're going to keep that tank or train a new crew. In most lines that you go up, you normally need 2 crews. So once you get to tier 6 or tier 8, you need to start thinking about starting another crew. How you do that is you go to the personal file, you go to training, you click on the tank it is, so that's light, medium, heavy, tank destroyer and artillery. You click on the specific tank that you want to change it to, the Comet. Then you choose whether you want to spend the gold or the credits and at what level. Once you've done that, you can physically, that changes the skill of the crew to that tank, and then you can physically send them back to barracks, go to the tank you trained them on and put them across. So just remember this little button here will save you a lot of time. The only thing I haven't covered now is this little button here, the accelerate crew training. So when you reach elite on a tank, that means you have unlocked everything on that tank. You get the ability to tick this little button here. What this does is, if you tick that, if you get 1,000 credits from a game, they'll all get 1,000 credits, plus you'll get an extra 1,000 credits go on to your lowest trained skill member. Which that means is, you know, I showed you that he needs 6,389. Just say they all need that, apart from the loader who needs, that's one bad example, but it could be 7,000. The person who needs the most amount of XP to get to the next level will get the double bonus. If you do not tick that, the same amount of XP gets put to your convert free XP for you to convert using gold to free XP. So if you get 1,000 XP in a game, it will come off your crew, and then 1,000 XP will rack up here. Okay, and then you can rack up game after game, and then after a while you can click on that tank and you can use gold to convert this XP into your free XP that you see here in the tech tree. Let's get rid of that. For example, I've got the Comet. I have 54,995 experience. I need 100. I could go to this. I could convert another 52,000. I could just go to there and I could type in 52. I have to keep these all ticked, the ones I'm allowed to take it from. I could say 52,000, and that would cost me 2,000 gold. It would come off my gold amount, and then I would be able to instantly unlock that tank. I'm not going to do that, but that's what you can do. So I tend to tick this unless I know that I'm going to want some free XP. So if I'm desperate for a tank and it's a bit of a grinder, I might use free XP, but what I normally use free XP for is if I get a stock tank and there's a particularly troublesome problem with it and you need to unlock an engine straight away or a gun. I sometimes do that, not always. Sometimes I do that, okay? And that's that. So that's the basics you need to know about skills and perks and crew skills and how you change crew from one vehicle to another. If you do have any questions, let me know, and I will be releasing videos, and they will be at the different tank types and what perks and skills you're most likely going to want to put on your crews. So stay tuned till next time. If you remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this or if it become helpful, and please enjoy my videos. And I've had one comment on my last video saying there's better people you can accept advice from, and there is. So you know, my priority, my priority is for you guys to learn, yeah, and that's why I'm doing these videos, and that's why I've started a clan that focuses on helping new players. And there are much better people out there you could learn from, I will admit that. There's some really top class players, but never guess what, not many of them players would start a new clan and let their precious scores get knocked because they're playing with brand new players at tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3. So yes, there is better players out there, thank you for pointing that out, but I'm here for you guys too. So if you guys are watching this and you're fancy putting a dodgy comment in, please just save it, because I'm trying to help the new guys here. They're the ones that the good players ignore because they're not good enough, or that the red players that have played this game for 10,000 battles but everyone screams and shouts at because nobody gives them the time of day. And I know people tend to think, yeah, but they don't want to learn and they don't listen. And that's because you're trying to teach them in the battle. You know, you can't teach someone in the middle of a battle. You can't teach them afterwards once they've just lost and they're raging a bit and you've been screaming at them all battle. That's the wrong time. The right time is preemptive on YouTube, on Twitch, or in a clan when you've got their undivided attention and they're in a learning mode. So please stop flaming these red players and these new players and making out that they're these evil monsters that don't want to learn, because that's not the case. You're just trying to teach them at the wrong time. You know, it's like trying to teach a kid maths once he's playing football. You're just not going to do it. So if we could just all grow up a bit and just, you know, if you want to learn, be part of this. If you don't, just, I'm not asking you to be here. So thank you very much, and I'll speak to you soon. Hello guys, I'm Havoc, and thanks for tuning in this week. Yeah, it's getting quite busy now for me. I've got quite a lot of people asking for different videos and different things, so I'm going to try to get round to that as quick as I can. Sorry if I haven't done something you've requested, but on the agenda now is going to be crew skills, as I did today, then specific crew skills for a tank type I'll do next, like lights, mediums, heavies, etc. And after that I'm going to see if I can cover some map tactics. With a few of the guys we've been going over maps, and I don't really want to go over map tactics in big massive detail because, you know, everyone else has done that, but I just want to maybe give a few hints and tips on some of the maps that I know and some nice little spots you can use to get a bit of damage. Thanks for tuning in, and please remember to subscribe and like if you enjoyed this or found it helpful. It takes me a long time to do these videos. It probably takes me about 4 times as long to produce a video than it does how long the video is, if not more. So if you don't mind, give us a nice comment and a like, and if you think you can be helped by these videos in the future, please subscribe. It'd be good to have you on board. And like I said, WoT Uni is recruiting. We're just about to start our second clan now, which will be for green players and above. It'll be our first targeted clan for a specific level of players. So that's really exciting for us, and all the guys are having great fun and enjoying it. Thank you again for tuning in. Goodbye for now.